you are one of 21 brothers
Exactly.
and
No,
sisters?
24.
24 now.
We are in total 24 brothers and sisters.
So if I say to you, give me the names of your brothers and sisters now, you'll be able to say by age or not?
By age, but I will tell you most of them.
Yes.
We've got Dionisio, Ernesto, Cristina, Rosamari, Benjamin, myself, Arturo, Joaquin, Ernesto, Daniel, Pitusa, Marisa, after 50 I start to lose.
Etc., etc., etc.
Etc., etc., etc.
Lauren, what is your first memory as a person, as a human being, as a kid? The first memory you have?
The first memory was in my hometown, because I call it hometown because it's Monte Quinto, is the place I grew up. Because the first time I went to Africa was back in '98. So my first memory was in the street of La Calle Bologna, which is civil service flats. We were all located there, people from everywhere. Las 3000, Palmete,
This is Seville.
Torreblanca, yes, Sevilla. So it was like not the best place because it was people from, we mix up. We were the only blacks, but in this side it was more people, poor people. People come from the different areas. Palmete is not the best area from Sevilla. Las 3000 close to the Sevilla training ground is not the best place. Torreblanca as well. So we were all located in La Calle Bologna in Monte Quinto. That's my first memory.
That is your first memory. I'm asking this because, of course, this is Sevilla. Mm-hmm. Your family is from Equatorial Guinea.
Exactly.
But you actually were born in Cameroon.
Yeah.
But your first memory is from Sevilla.
Yeah, absolutely, because my family come from Equatorial Guinea. As you said, my father was on the government at Matthias government. He was the director, telecommunications director. So by the time they changed the regime, my family escaped to Cameroon because my uncle was in the military army. So he said to my father, they're going to kill you. You have to escape with the whole family. So both family, my uncle family, my father's family, we all went to Cameroon. My mom was pregnant. So I was born in Kribi. Kribi is the frontier. It's like you said, Spain and Portugal. Mm-hmm. So I was born in Kribi, and after that we moved to Spain.
Obviously, your dad being a prominent part of the previous government, that had been in charge of Equatorial Guinea since the independence in 1968.
Exactly.
It was, I guess, a generation of politicians that backed the government, and of course, when the military coup started, you had to fly. Now, what have your parents told you about that escape?
That escape, what my parents says to me, my father and my mom, because after living in Spain, they get separated, like many people. They got divorced, and then what I said that my mom said come from a good family because the people of my mom, they have the owner for coffee plantation, cacao plantation. So it was a very good family, very good establishment. With my mom says we were the first that we have a proper car from Europe in Equatorial Guinea. So one of the first families. So they have a nice life. My father, when he started in the government, they bought a big house. They've got people working for them in the house. So this is what they says to me about the coup exactly. They said thanks to my uncle Dionisio Bisang, it was saying you have to be careful. Something is happening in this government. It's gonna be changed soon, so you have to go as soon as possible because you're gonna be killed as they put in jail so many other their friends. Exactly the situation with the dates when it's happening, they never said. I didn't know how it was, the date, or the way they escape or things like that. They never give me this type of details. But
so they kind of escaped both physically and mentally from it as well. They just
with all the kids. It wasn't just my mom and my dad. It was my mom, my dad, the wife of my uncle, all the kids.
So you went to Cameroon, but you left there at 3. Do you remember anything from that period there? Where did you end up once you arrived to Cameroon?
To be honest with you, I can't remember anything.
And they haven't told you anything. So literally, your family left, as I said, mentally but physically as well. They did not want to look back at what happened then.
Exactly.
They never spoke.
They didn't want to look back exactly the bad situation because, to be honest with you, they've been living a brilliant life. Mm-hmm. So it was a short period of bad situation because they were in the government. My father was in the government. My mom came from a very good family. So for them, they had a fantastic style of life in Equatorial Guinea because Equatorial Guinea, people don't know, they look back on that period after the Spanish era with
colonial of Spain.
Colonization of Spain, but the situation in Spain when after la guerra civil española,
the Spanish Civil War.
Yes. Spanish people, they were asking a lot of food from Equatorial Guinea, things that so many business people, they went to Equatorial Guinea as the family of Roche. My father knew the brother for Fernando Roche, all those guys. Uh-huh. They started to do with the
trade with
exactly with Equatorial Guinea. So they live in that kind of period. For them, they had a fantastic life. Yes. They started to have a bad period when we went to Spain. Actually, we went into flats with a lot of people, a lot of kids, and for my mom it was very hard because she came. Is a lady girl, daddy's girl. She has everything, and then she found out I'm in Spain now. We have to take care about all those kids. We hardly get to the end of the month. So for her, mentally, it was very, very difficult. And because for my dad as well.
Obviously, going to Cameroon was a temporary solution. But why did you decide to go to Spain next? Do you know?
Yeah, because if you don't remember, Equatorial Guinea was a colony, and Equatorial Guinea citizens, they were Spanish.
And you all spoke Spanish?
We all spoke Spanish, everyone. Mm-hmm. And then before they took the independence, all the Equatorial Guinean citizens, they had the DNI, they've got all the
national
documents.
Identity card.
Yeah, like a Spanish
one. Yeah.
So after they took the independence, but my father had good relationship with the previous government, with Fraga, with all those guys that they
was close to
power,
the
my father has power in Spain. It sounds weird, but my father and those around those government, they've got like a right-hand mentality. Mm-hmm. Like the old-fashioned people, very strict because they were educated in the Franco time. So mm-hmm. they have the kind of mentality, very strict. You have to go to the church every Sunday. You have to pray before you eat. You have very religious, very conservative, very, don't wear this, don't wear that. You have to go to the church. They were very strict.
So the politicians that have been in the Franco regime that survived,
exactly.
and like you mentioned Fraga there, who was a prominent right-wing politician.
Yeah. He was traveling a lot to Equatorial Guinea. My father knew him, so they were, he had some contact with my father at the time.
So now that there was democracy in Spain,
yeah.
But he was part. He was
exactly.
part of the new regime, Fraga, as well as he was before from the Franco. He was a minister of Franco as well. He was protecting your family, or he was at least helping
one of them. I know that my father had him. They have other people that have contact, so they're helping him to to the process to be in Spain, to do all the documents and all that. But after my father was civil servant and
in Spain.
It mm-hmm. was we were 1 year or two in Madrid, and then we moved to Spain because my father started to work.
You moved to Sevilla after Madrid.
En la Plaza de España.
Uh-huh.
En la ¿cómo se llama? They call it
in Sevilla.
Yeah, but they call it. It's a name there.
Anyway, he was a civil servant.
Delegación del Gobierno de Andalucía.
Right. So he was a representative of the Andalusian government in Madrid.
No. In Sevilla.
Okay. He was
Delegación del Gobierno de Andalucía in Seville.
Oh, sorry, the other way around. I'll say it again. So your dad was a representative of the central government back in Andalusia.
Yeah, he was there more than 30 years.
And I know you're saying that your dad was religious and very strict.
Very religious.
But the 24 brothers, is it from the same dad? Are they from the same dad?
No, we were same dad, different mothers. From my mom, we were 6. And then from the rest, my father, because it's not question about religions. It was question about his hometown. They believe that the more kids you have, the bigger family you are, it means that you are a strong man.
Uh-huh.
It means that you are a wealthy family because you have a lot of kids, you can sustain a lot of women. And in fact, he did because he had great position, have good money, so they believe in that in his hometown that the more you have, the more kids, the more women, it means that you are a wealthy man, you are a very established man person. So therefore, he had a lot of kids.
Have you ever
been question about religions?
Have you ever been curious about how he managed to do all that? As in, how he managed to keep everybody relatively happy and wealthy back then?
Well, apparently they were happy, but maybe not. But in yesterday, the education was different. When I was a kid, we used to call my dad Señor.
Sir.
Sir. It's not like daddy, mommy, like nowadays. So it was like kind of different education, different culture. If the father, the father figure says something, everybody have to respect. There is no doubt. There is no question. You cannot question anything. So this is the way it is. You have to stick on it. That is the education, and I didn't. I get a little bit of that by my brothers and sisters. The biggest one, they said it was worse before. I mean, whatever say your father, your mom, that's it. It's no question. There's no argument. So therefore, he managed to handle all the situation because of respect and because of also tradition.
So, was it for you, your dad, a father figure or a kind of god or somebody very distant? What kind of relationship?
That's why he said. He used to say to all of us is, you know who are your God? We used to argue, and he said, your God is your dad, and your God is your mom, because we give you birth, so we are your gods. But no, I didn't take it on that. I didn't take it like a father. Well, it was my father, but I was different direction, opposite. We had the same strong character, very strong character. We are very nice people, but very strong character. And then I was opposite. Mm-hmm. I didn't stick to the rules. You have to be 9 o'clock at home. I come 11 or come 12. I didn't respect all the rules. When I was a kid, I used to go to the church because I was obligated to go into the church. But when I get bigger, I didn't like it because I know you can't impose your theories, you can't impose your mentality to me because I'm individual person. I respect you like a father, a mama figure, but I want to be free. I don't want to stick to the rules, do this, do that, do that. It was opposite.
It's
but when I go bigger, I'll go similar things in the way that some advice that he gave to us, it was real. It was real because he was saying you have to get your degree as a student. If you want to be someone in life, you have to do by yourself. Don't expect anything from the others. You have to be, what do you want to be called? Señor? Or you want to be called like no one else? In this life, in this competitive world, you have to, it's done to the education, your degree. And in fact, the most of my brothers, they get to the university. Mm-hmm. They had their own private business issue. They all established it because of the education they gave us.
You had 2 flats in Sevilla. Where how many of you were there?
We were 12 at the beginning because some of the brothers came later. Because some were in Gabon with the man, Arturo and Joaquin, they were living in Gabon. Mm-hmm. Daniel was living in Nigeria with his mom, so he came late. He's now in Scotland. He's living in Scotland. And some of them came late. Patricio was in Equatorial Guinea, Inocencio as well. So we end up 15 people in 2 flats.
So you were sharing a room with how many?
We were in one room. It was 1, 2, 3, 4 literas.
Oh, bunk beds.
Yeah, four, another flat like that. Yeah.
So do you mean 4 bunk beds?
Yeah.
For 8 people?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, 4 bunk beds for 4. It was 3 bedrooms.
All right. Okay.
4, 12, and the other in the other flats.
And how did you, mom and dad, manage to, feed you all and get you close? Your dad was a civil servant, but your mom, what did you do?
It was a problem because my father had a very good job, civil servant. It was, regular basic, good wages. But after the day 15 in the month, the problem started because you can't, it was limitation. Let's say like you get 1 tortilla and rice, and now you have to be cut it in pieces to feed everyone. And then it was difficult. And my mom said, "Oh, what can I do?" She was suffering because she didn't, once you pass from here and to here, in Equatorial Guinea, I've got my fish, I've got everything. But now I have to. What can I do? She was suffering, and then. Therefore, I was very concentrated in what I want to do. I want to be a footballer because my mom says, my father didn't want me to play football because he said, you have to go to the university and study as the rest of the family. And my mom said, do you believe that you want to be a footballer? Give your 120%. If you believe you want to be a footballer, do it, but do it real. If you want to be a journalist, or if you want to be working in whatever you want to decide to do it 120%. Otherwise, you can't get it.
When you joined football and then you realized you were good, was it at the back of your mind, I have to do this because it's my way to survive, or I have to do this because that's my way to help my mother?
Yeah, in one way, it was the way that I love football. First of all, I love football. I want to be a footballer because we were in Andalusian 30 years ago is not the same Andalusia as now. Now it was in roads, now there's road, there's motorway. Before it was a nightmare. So people was sharing in the street, playing the whole days in the morning until the night, playing football, doing this, our life, sunny until 10 o'clock in the summer. So we were all day playing football. In the morning until the afternoon. After the school, football. So this is one fact. The other fact was my inner strength to break the barriers. And then I have to do something in life. And football was focused. And also the other fact was obviously help my family. Mm-hmm. Help my family. Well, a lot of help my mom as well because mom was suffering. She went to Madrid to work. So I said, my mom is not here, so I have to do something to help this woman because she's suffering. She comes from, establishing people, and then now she's working in cleaning houses or cleaning the bus. She was working in Madrid cleaning the bus, the station, the toilets, all that. So I said, she's suffering a lot. Mentally, I insist again, when you come from here and then you be there, it's not easy.
What age are we talking about? When did you realize I have to help my mother?
When I realized it, when I started in Sevilla, I was 1 year in Montequinto. I scored 56 goals because I was playing as a striker. And then Sevilla was looking around, and then I went myself to training to Sevilla. I said to the people in Sevilla, I want a training. Train. This is real. I went there because we thought that Ireland was playing a friendly game against Spain. So we thought that they were at the training ground. So I took my friends and said, let's go to see how they're training. So
how Spain trained?
Spain and Ireland.
Ireland as well.
So let's go to see them play. And they wasn't there for some reason. So I said, what can I do now? So I went to Florencio. Florencio was the kid man. Florencio Badilla. So I went to him. I said, I want a training.
How old were you?
I was 11.
11.
So I said to Florencio, I want a training. So Florencio said, at that time it was still Pablo Blanco, but it wasn't Pablo Blanco, it was Pepe Alfaro. Pepe Alfaro was the coordinated the whole academy. So I went to ask Pepe Alfaro, And then they give me the kits. I have boots, nothing. So they give me everything. I start to train with the rondo. I didn't know nothing about rondo, so I was lost. Always in the middle. So, and then they found out that they've been searching. They said my record. I scored 56 goals with because that was at the end of the season. And then Sevilla said me, okay, we have to sign him. This is the way I started at Sevilla.
Wasn't it a contrast of feelings when you started taking football more seriously?
No, because my target was there. I mean, in fact, when my first year, second year at Sevilla, I was working. I finished training. I finished the school. I hardly ate small piece of whatever. And it was a situation with Pepe Ibanez. Pepe Ibanez was my first coach in Alevines. And then
what age is that?
it was
12?
very funny. Alevines 11, no, because it's not like now. I think it's been changed. And then Pepe Ibanez was going to train after. They didn't know that you eat or you don't eat. So I ate a little bit something, rice or whatever. So I went to the training ground. We was at 5 o'clock. We start 4:30, 5 o'clock. With the sun, Sevilla sun, the beginning of the season, July, August, terrible. So I went to the training ground. There I started training, and then suddenly, I just bang, I fell down. I collapsed. I fell down. So this time, everybody was. I opened my eyes, and everybody was looking. And Pepe Ibanez said, "It's the first time I see a black guy become white." Because my face was white and yellow. So we started to smile, but this was the situation because I finished training, I finished the school, I had 8, so I got to the training ground. After training ground...
How long the walk?
The walk, it looks closer now because you see the motorway, but before, you're talking about 35 years ago, or 34, 35 years ago, it wasn't like that. No, 35, sorry, 32 years ago.
You're not that old yet.
Not yet. So, it's...
half an hour, 40
I would
minutes?
Say it could be, 25, something like that.
Okay.
Half an hour.
You mentioned...
In the way that without no proper environment, no motorways, no road, it was just one line, the bushes around, and I have to get back at night. So, I mean, it was a bit tough.
You mentioned that you were the first black family in a very wide
together with Bodipo.
With Bodipo as well.
Bodipo as well. His family was living not far from us, 10 minutes.
Bodipo, who's also from
Equatorial Guinea. My mom's cousin.
And for my understanding in Andalusia, when people don't understand what's happening, the first reaction is humor. They react in a kind of humorous way to something that is strange to them. Is that how you felt, or was there really a tension because you were so different to everybody else?
No, but you know what? I didn't have any... I feel Spanish. Some people said, but how come? Because I feel Spanish. Because I believe so that if you grew up in Catalonia or you grew up in País Vasco, you cannot say to Iñaki Guillem is from... it's not. You grew up in Bilbao. You've got everything from Bilbao. I've got everything from Sevilla. The culture, the language, my friends, everything was there. So in that part, I feel integrated. I didn't have this kind of complex where people... Because if you have complex, it starts about yourself. If you go down to the street... oh, everybody's look at me because I'm black. Oh, everybody's saying because I'm black. Oh, everybody... It's yourself. I didn't have that. When I went down to the street with my friend, I feel like somebody else. Of course, there were people like, come, oh, curly hair, things like that, because it's curious issue. It's not, sometimes it's not racist. It's more curious. Like if you see something different, oh, who's that? But I feel like I didn't feel in that way rejected, or I don't feel in that way different. To be honest with you, that's what the key is. If you in the training ground, if you ask Antonito, whatever they call me, negro, and some people think when they call it negro in that way is because it's despective. But if you they call you negro with the adjective, el adjetivo después, hijo de tal or what, then it's an insult. In my opinion, they said negro lau, whatever. I didn't feel any racism at all. I feel like integrated in the society. I feel one guy in Monte Quinto that is looking for get his achievement or whatever without any complex.
You kept growing in Sevilla, eventually went to Mallorca. Also, you were moved from forward positions to positions closer to your own goal. But you found yourself in a situation in the Olympic Games in which you were actually ended up playing the final against your own team, if you like.
Yeah.
So you obviously joined Cameroon. It was Tommy Nkono, the legendary goalkeeper, who recognized that.
Yeah, when I was at Levante.
When you were at Levante.
In fact, I was doing a very good season. We had a terrible situation in Levante where we changed 6 coaches. We were down in the bottom. People were waiting. You know, Valencia is a hot place. People after the game, they were waiting for us because the car park, it was outside, so we have to leave the cars outside the stadium. So most of the players had the scratches. They had, but they did everything. But the only player they didn't do against was me. And that year, I scored my first year as a professional. I scored 7 goals. Very good one against Villarreal, against Leganés.
Playing as a number 10?
Yeah, close behind the striker, sometimes the right, but coming there. So I had a very good season, and everybody loved me at Levante because they saw that I gave 100%, and in fact, I saw some very good goals in important games. So I was the only one that nobody do anything to my car. So they loved me there. So therefore, we started there because sometimes I get that from my background. Sometimes those working days, going to the training ground at night. Now I've got the opportunity to play as a professional or going to the World Cup. I said, look, I'm going to do everything possible to achieve my goal.
So Nkono recognizes that you could actually play for Spain or for Cameroon, so convinced you to play for Cameroon. But of course, you go to Cameroon, which is a country you don't know.
I was shocked.
Players you don't know.
I was shocked because you can see so many things on TV, but when you got there and then see the reality of the issues or the situations, and then you start to realize how lucky we were, because you can say, yes, I was walking to the training ground, I was going there, I had 12, 15 people in the house, but I have a home. I've got a home, I get hot water every day. Even if it was a small piece of tortilla or rice or lentejas, I love lentejas, still having it now. And then at least we have something. But when you get back to those realities in some kids, not in the main city, Yaoundé or Douala, no, when you go away from the countryside, you see the reality, no shoes, nothing, they hardly have anything, no water, and then you start to realize. I was in the hotel in Montfebet. Some people said, why you don't go down? Eto, come down. Oh. I said, I stay in my room. I was crying literally, but I didn't want them to see me cry because I was there thinking about those kids, and literally I was crying in my room, watching the window, and I said, look, if we say that we got trouble or problem in Europe, what can they say those guys? I mean, it's something unbelievable.
You shared a room with Samuel Eto'o, who was the only member of the squad that spoke Spanish, so you two share. He was very young at the time as well.
Very young, but big personality.
Already?
Yeah, already. I mean, Samuel is... we were challenging who's going to play better this tournament, who's going to be the best, who's going to score more goals. And, because I was playing midfield, no striker, so I could challenge you on those days, not now. And we were challenging on that, who was going to be the best. And Samuel had a big personality. He's facing people. It's like that. But what I like about Samuel, whatever I said to you here, when you turn around, he will say the same. He talk to you in your face, at the back, whatever. But it's a big mouth outside the pitch, but inside the pitch, it's a big mouth too. So that's what I like about Samuel.
Talking about big personalities, when you were in the youth system of Sevilla, there was a big name, one of the gods of football that actually played for Sevilla, that was Maradona. Yeah. What do you remember of his stay at the club?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I remember one day we were there watching the game. I don't know against who, people was against Sevilla. You know, Sevilla when the fans.
Sevilla fans.
Sevilla fans, they are special, and then they were not happy, so they start to blow, throwing things, oranges, little balls, and Maradona went to the corner, take one of those balls without the hand, and then lift it out and then kick it to the home run. So it changed the mood of the Sevilla fans. So everybody it turned up the situation, and they were applauding, clapping the hands, supporting the team. So this is Maradona. It was unbelievable. Sometimes after the training ground, we used to get there. Let's go, Amasui. He was kicking the ball, free kick, if he scored from 10 or 15 times without missing.
Mm-hmm.
It was unbelievable. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, just unbelievable.
You did well with Mallorca. And how did it come about to come to Arsenal?
Well, I got married my first year at Mallorca, and then there was the Roma wants to sign me, Derek Zeman as a coach, and then Matteo Alemani now is on Valencia. He said we have to wait.
He was the chief executive of Mallorca.
He was the chief executive. This is not the right time. You have to wait. But in fact, we went to Roma. We had a meeting with some people in Roma, and with the captain of Roma, Di Baio. So after that, we spent my honeymoon was in Roma. So we spent there 1 week. Finally, we couldn't reach an agreement because Mallorca didn't want to let me go for some reason. So he said, wait, and then next year, I had a phone call from, they called me from Arsenal. It was Ronnie Rosenthal, one of the guys. And then we set up a meeting with David in David In's house with Arsene Wenger, David In, and the daughter of David In, and we brought an interpreter. It was with Antonio Gonzalez, one of the teachers, one of the best schools in Sevilla, because Antonio Gonzalez was a teacher as well. So he took one of his friends that was talking in English. Mm-hmm. So we went, the three of us, to David Hill's house, and in fact his daughter was speaking Spanish, so we could have communicated with David In and Arsene Wenger there.
But you very
it was a different, because those guys, I said, how could I be the sport director on his house, and David In and Arsene Wenger? It was something special. So you could feel that they want to know you, not the footballer. They want to know the person.
Mm-hmm. What relationship have you had, or did you have, and have you got still with Arsene Wenger?
As a coach. Not personal, but Wenger is like, if you need anything, you could go to his locker, club, and talk to him. At that time, that period, I was talking to him so many personal issues about my own life, about some situation that, and one thing he told me, I won't forget ever. I said, players don't have to get married before 30s.
Why?
Well, a few issues, and also was another one was he used to say that you can't have everything. You're complaining about the weather, you complain about this, about that, but in fact, this is Arsenal. You have everything. You are fantastic wages. You play Champions League. You can't have everything. So this is a short period. Do your best, and then you will remember when I'm talking to you now. So it was right.
Manchester City almost finished the season unbeaten, and that obviously brought memories of your invincible squad. Did you want City to lose a game?
Of course.
I thought
anyone, Liverpool, City, whoever is there, I want them to lose.
Yes. Because I think the longer we're separating ourselves from that period, the longer it's been since that happened, the bigger it looks, the most amazing it looks.
Yeah.
You look back now, and you perhaps at the time they don't realize what you were doing.
Not at all. I mean, you were there, we were there, training, game. Because in my period, I was living, believe me, 100% football. I was thinking about Arsenal. I was thinking about the institution. I was thinking about trying to improve in my position. I was trying to be the best in my position. I was focused about football. I didn't care about anything else. So sometimes the fact that we draw a game, then no 1-1, I was in my house. I couldn't sleep. Believe me, I couldn't sleep the whole night. Just it was a draw. It was. And Monica, at the time when you see me, the Rosua, you just go to the next room because she knows that was I was thinking, talking. Said, look, I don't want to listen to you. You go away. So yeah, because it was like I was 100% committed, more than that. And sometimes I got there. My injury come because some players at the training ground, Gilberto, the Padre used to say, go relax, because we play 3 games a week, 4 games. Relax. I used to go to the training ground. I was living closer.
As you were injured, you were still...
No, before I got injured. They said, because I was, on my day off, I didn't rest. I go to the training ground, I do this, I want to... And some people said to me, it's too much. You have to get rest. And in fact, they were right, because I pushed myself too much. But if I didn't do that, I wouldn't play at Arsenal.
Mm-hmm. You have to go to the limit.
Of course. Guarantee I wouldn't play in that team, because we're talking about the best Arsenal team in the history. I mean, it was...
Go through a little bit that squad, just a little bit of what were they like as people, and how they helped Arsenal to push on so high in that squad.
It was good people. I mean, on the training ground we were like everybody wants to be the best, but we were all committed, we were all competitive, but nice people, very honest and how do you say, noble?
Yeah, noble and honest in their approach and committed.
But nice people. If you talk to Patrick Vieira, he's a simple guy, down to earth. It was like no one was like a kind of big head. Everybody was down to the ground. Pires is a fantastic lad. If you know him outside the pitch, inside the pitch, everyone. I mean, it was a very nice group of people.